Hello everybody, this is Frogman. Welcome back to Feed the Beast Genesis. I have been busy a little bit in between episodes. We've moved a few things off of this center section and put them over there. I've also went ahead and stole a couple of things out of the ground over here because I have plans for what I want to do in here, and I don't believe it's going to require much for power as the way we are going to be working things. Yeah, done a little bit, not a whole heck of a lot. Went and found some stuff because there's a couple of things I want to craft today, and then there's going to be some technology that I want to look at. So I've been fiddling a little bit, just trying to understand or get my head around a couple of things here. So I went ahead and crafted a couple of more things just off camera. We'll go back up in here into electrodynamic theory. Um, we're going to have to kind of touch around on a bunch of things because again I'm looking at the way certain things are going here, and we're not being told what I need to be told in order to be looking at things, which is fine. It's great, it's wonderful, but I've been banging my head against the wall, and there's another thing in here that I guess I probably should have looked for. Maybe it's down here, maybe it's in one of these lines, maybe I don't know, but we're going to talk about it. Anyway, I went ahead and played a little bit more with electrodynamic theory, got the mineral grinder crafted, and I also crafted an electric furnace just to see how good they worked. And then I kind of fiddled around with another couple of things. Since they gave us another battery, a lithium battery, I went ahead and crafted another thermoelectric generator because, again, anything that doesn't require fuel or maintenance to run is a perfectly good thing for me to be kind of messing around with. So we'll just kind of continue to use that for right now until we can move on to a little bit better power. Plans are today to try to get a little bit more power, but we're going to kind of mess around with some other things first. So the first thing I'm looking at right here, or at least the first thing that I did kind of do, if you guys notice, is these are in here now. I got lucky. I got all 6, 7 things to pick up the first try. So then I brought them back in here and we did a little bit of work. I went ahead and moved the thermoelectric generators in here from the IE thermoelectric generators, the ones that were in the floor, and kind of reconfigured them a little bit so that they can kind of continue to charge our gear for right now. And then I automated at least the recovery of a few things. So if we need to, compress something or grind something or alloy smelt something. I don't know how smart this is going to be, but for fun, I put it up there. And again, I'll have to do the same for these guys over here, but we'll play with that as it goes. For now, I'm going to leave the packed ice, that stuff right there, the blue ice, in the ground up here because I don't have the ability to pick it up currently. Once we have the ability to pick it up, then I will do so. Snow works. They're not the greatest things. The whole point of that whole idea down here is just to try to continuously trickle in power, which is what we're kind of doing here. I've been just messing around and fiddling around with a couple of things, and this is why I kind of wanted to look at a couple of other, stories that we have today, because I realized that the universal cables will connect directly to a battery box and charge it. As we can see in here, it's currently charging, and this one should be this will catch up once it gets there. So I went ahead and crafted another battery box. Again, that wasn't very expensive. It's just a couple of batteries, and they're not really all that awful as far as the way this goes. Eventually, we'll be able to craft one of these if we care. I'm trying to, again, just wrap my head around a new mod that I have not ever played with. I'd like to see what it's like. I'd like to see what it's about, and I kind of like the. I'm not 100% set on the the way that they're doing the power with it. It's a fun thing. I'm have plenty of background in electronics and electrical somewhat. I've got a degree in electronics engineering, so things like this are. Plus, I'm a pretty much jack of all trades. I'm jack of all trades. I hate that word. I grew up on a farm. I learned a whole lot of things the hard way, or at least taught myself a lot of the stuff. So understanding the nomenclature and what they're trying to do here is a lot of fun, or at least a fun for a person like me. So I don't want to get in too deep into it, other than the fact that pay attention to which wires they're giving you all right off the bat. Um, these wires are not as good as the. Well, let me see. Where are my wires? What did I do with them? Do it this way. Wire math. If you're trying to heat up a wire, I'm going to just say it right now. If you're going to try to heat up a wire by passing current through it, well, you want to make sure it has as many resistance numbers as possible. They're giving us tin wire, which has 20 milliohms, which is not a whole heck of a lot, but you're losing. This kind of has a loss to it, kind of like the immersive engineering wires do, whereas the further your immersive engineering wire runs go, the more energy you lose across the wire, basically due to the same kind of thing, which is resistance. So that means you want to pick a wire that has the least amount of resistance, or that least number up there as far as resistance is concerned. They keep handing us the insulated tin wire, and that's 20 milliohms. Well, the copper wire is 3. The only difference between the two is everything is better with the copper wire. Copper wire can handle clear up to 360 amps at 240 volts. The tin wire can handle 60 amps at 240 volts. This is going to burn for this does. So just make the copper wire, because the copper is super silly cheap, and save your tin for other things. I did convert a couple of things, I should say. I separated a couple of things, and we do have a new charging station, although for whatever reason it's all blacked out because immersive and its usual little problems. The upgrade transformer is over here, so we'll do what I would consider 110 voltage down here and 240 voltage down here. And if I have to again do any more, we'll probably stack them up somewhere else. So I just kind of dug into the wall over here and made a few things happen. This is currently holding a flux infused hammer. I was waiting on diamonds. Basically just waiting on diamonds. Once I got 4 diamonds, I went ahead and crafted this thing. An obsidian rod is just the lathe with the obsidian deal, and the are here. The flux infused ingots, of course, are just something that we all should know how to make by now. Very simple, very easy. I can't stand I need 3x3 mining until I get some kind of a miner or a quarry, which we may be capable of getting to fairly soon. But yeah, that's just one of those things. I like it. It works, and it was reasonably cheap considering what it was actually. And all it takes is a little bit of energy to run, which we can modify a couple of things. We can modify our backpack wherever it is. I can make another backpack, like say right here, with an actual energy storage in it, and then we can carry multiple backpacks around should we care. That's a thing you can do. It's not one of those things I do very often. So the next thing I want to do, since we're kind of sitting there looking at a couple of things, is you might be wondering this little deal here. What are we going to do with this? One of the things I'm very much tired of is carrying one of these around in my backpack and going back and forth between places when I want to leave, and then having to run all the way back down to wherever. So if you need them, there are some purple crystal shards in that particular. I'm guessing these are supposed to be like jars. They kind of look like some kind of a jar. I know they're modeled after something. They look like a large jar in here. There's some crystals in there if you need them. However, if you stand at the entrance looking way here towards and again, we're all playing the same map as far as I'm aware. If you're looking at the entrance and you go this direction and you dig into that wall about right here, and then you follow this little cave just around a little bitty corner, there's a geode right here. The reason why or I knew that there was a geode right here, is because there's a whole bunch of smooth basalt. If you see a bunch of smooth basalt just out in the middle of nowhere wandering around in a cave, dig into it. You'll next see some calcite, and then you will see some amethyst. Inside these amethyst things are going to be all kinds of budding amethysts, which you can then later on farm if you want to. Various things. I don't know how much amethyst we're going to need over the period that we run at this, but I went ahead and gathered a stack up so that we could craft stuff with it should we need to. I found that pretty early on in game, so I mean it wasn't like it was a secret that I didn't I knew about and nobody else did. I'm pretty certain. Looking at the way the underground works in here, they filled in quite a bit of the world. That's why that geode has a half a floor of stone in it. So the construction of things has been interesting. Other thing I'm going to say, electrodynamics does have a wrench. If you need to rotate things or pick things up, cool, it is there. However, if you click it on that little thing right there, it will take all of the power out of it. So you might as well just break the thing. So anyhow, first thing I want to make is the guts of a waystone. The guts of a waystone is actually a warp stone. And a warp stone, I think by now we should be able to craft. Right? Because I should have all the amethyst shards were the only things I needed. I needed emeralds, and I should have ender pearls. Beautiful. Awesome. Ding. That's cool. So that'll give us whatever that is as far as what is like a 5-minute cooldown, and it has a durability on it. But whatever. That means from now on I can go out here and explore and wander around and run, and then when I get tired of it, I can just jump back in and do what I need to do. That's something I've been needing for a minute. That also means we can now craft more of these. So they're pretty simple. Once again, a little bit of obsidian. Obsidian, we can do all of the things we need to do with obsidian. I know I probably didn't show it, but let me see. Where did I put that guy? Breaker. Breaker, 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 breaker. Where are you? You're right there. That's how I broke the obsidian out over there, because I didn't have any way of being able to do it because I didn't have a diamond pickaxe. So if you do need to be able to break things, a small block breaker, breaker. Small block breaker. Just about anybody can craft at this point in time as far as the whole thing goes, unless you want to make one of these. This one requires power. This one doesn't. So if you wanted to automate some silliness over here, like if you wanted to try to figure out how to keep lava right here, so like that piece of obsidian was another test lava, there are ways of doing this better. And the way you would do it is you would have a lava block, whatever that is, a lot of placer, but like there's I forget what it is. There's a gate or a floodgate or something like that or whatever. There's blocks that will place fluids into the fluid placers or whatever into the world, and then you just pump lava into them, and then you have something like that little breaker again. Just break it when it shows up, and either pick it up or just let it get eaten by the lava. Kind of the same thing over here. Is it again a neat thing to do? No. Once we get some power, then we'll just put this thing away. But for right now, again, it's doing what I need it to do. We're not using it yet, so it can sit over there and do what it needs to do. All right, all that said and done, I have a couple of things I wanted, and I'm very happy to have that stone now. That means we can kind of make our lives a little bit easier wandering around in the nether and well out in the overworld searching for other stuff, because it's kind of a hassle. What I want to do today, well, there's a chapter that I want to look at, and I want to go over it because we've been playing with various problems, and the things that I've been noticing specifically that this pack is going to present us is going to be getting around the various power transmission mechanics, which is annoying. And I fully agree with I fully agree with the difficulty of it. However, there is some things that are incredibly annoying about this whole mess, which is why I did the little thing over here. And then reading a little bit, I realized I can get around that again. But let's look at it anyway. Read this chapter. For the most part, all of the stuff that you're going to be worried about is you're going to be able to eventually convert between one and the other and back, depending on whether you're using the electrodynamics power or the EU power or regular forge energy. There's all kinds of things that we can get in here. And I wanted to check on this because this is going to give us another DC motor and another bucket of lubricant. Now, the reason why this is important, again, is because this is a way to convert from, see it right there, from FE to electrodynamics. So if we look at this thing right here, this thing, if you put it down, you plug that thing into one side of it, this thing into another, and then give it some lubricant, which is really annoying, it will convert from FE into this generational type of stuff. Or you can just do that, because that's doing the exact same conversion. And I can just put this in the the bin over here in the box. It can go right here, which means I can use that lubricant to do other things. Or you can do it the way they would want to do it. But this looks like a fairly simple, easy way of doing things. Because then that means all I got to do is plug all of my forge generational stuff into that cable, my electrodynamics generational stuff into this cable, and then either blow those out and have them connect to this stuff, or just separate it, segregate it out, and use the, where is it? It's in there, another flux converter to just do what I need to do as far as this is concerned. I am going on, and I have a feeling we're going to have to keep playing with it, and I'll probably have to build a reactor for this time. Just depends on how much power they want us to kind of play around with. But I think for right now, I'm not going to worry about it. The reason why we're going to keep digging through this chapter is because I assume fairly soon they're going to start telling us the stuff that we want to do. This bird on a wire, I'm not going to go through it, but I'm just going to literally say you need to go read through it so you can understand what's going to explode and what's not. So you want me to give you all of those things. We can do that. Let's see. Wire. I need that wire and cable and that. Okay, cool. These convert back and forth regardless of how you need to worry about it. So if you need any wires, or if you need those copper insulated wires, they're just basically the IC2 version. So not too hard to gum around on. Give me some more stuff. Again, notice the words explosion. There's more than 1 or 2 times in here where they say explosion. So we'll just go down the list again. Battery box. If I'd have done this, I wouldn't have had to make another one. Battery boxes, of course, will store electrodynamic engineering. It is up to all this kind of wonderful fun stuff. I guess since that's the way it works, we'll grab one of these, and I'll take the one that's the least empty. Thank you. And they are directional. Notice how it is empty. I broke it. It is empty. Once you place them down, it's just like these things over here, any other machine. We're going to try to go through these and get them over with. But again, this is just going to say 120 volt device. It's just understand that it can only input 120 volts and only output 120 volts, which means your number, you can use the similarity, I guess should say the similarity between this stuff here and this stuff here is quite large. They're really, really close to why they do things, because you have low voltage, medium voltage, and high voltage when it comes to IC2. So if you're having problems blowing up these kinds of things, it's probably because you're either connecting it to the wrong power or you have the wrong conversion here. So right here it says output. This is converting whatever it is here into 32 EU total, which means it's similar to here. Again, output voltage is 120 volts total. That's it. These are all going to use, I guess the biggest difference here is you have to understand that this is going to output at this number, but this is the max kilowatts it can do. This is your number of EU here as far as EU is concerned. This is the EU number, or I should say between these two is probably more like the way that goes. But in understanding it basically, this is going to use, say, like 3.5 kilowatts at 120 volts to run. Well, once I use up that much kilowatts out of here, it's gone forever. So if this is running constantly, that's, what is it, here? So this would be then for, what would it be, 30, 37 or 30, whatever it is, 35 kilowatts, whatever, on that end of it. Same thing here. When I run out of that 32 EU over here, so like saying this is taking 2 or 3 EU to run, well, that 2 is gone forever as long as that machine is running. So that's the kind of conversion between these things that are kind of interesting, and the fact that they have tiered machines. Cabling is tiered, however, you'll find that the cabling is good for quite a ways. This stuff, we know it's just limited at whatever it can pass, and that's the whole point that we're trying to talk about and get through in this area, I do believe. So we'll just go ahead and check on those. Thank you very much. Battery box, you want me to make a bat box? No, I'm not going to make a bat box unless you give me one. I think they gave us one. Let's see. Yeah, they did give us one. Cool. So I could take this, theoretically, and plug it into the line over here, okay? I could move all this stuff backwards, plug this into the line. For that matter, I might just go ahead and put it like right here so that it can then charge and be able to be used to do other things. But for right now, no. These are anything IC2, I'm leaving it alone for right now, mainly because I don't know whether it's going to blow up in my face or not, but we'll leave it alone. Bat box, next, give me this. That's some more cables, redstone dust. Can take anything up to 332 EU and can do the stuff, and you can directly power it with cables or your batteries inserted inside, or it can charge up da-da-da-da-da. We all know this wonderful stuff. And of course the magical basic energy cube, of which I don't think we can quite craft yet. I need green dye. Might be able to do that sooner than later. I do have a green flower. Good deal. Okay, so we'll be able to do that eventually. I'm not going to do that right now. But again, the same old thing as the discussion. They just want you to understand that this is the way it works. You can convert from FE to EU energy using a flux converter with the appropriate tier. The conversion rate is 4 FE to 1 EU. And then you can use a DC motor of your choice, or you can just convert it like that. Anyhow, onwards, upwards, next. Last trip through the flux converter. Of course, we have some flux converters over there. So flux converter, and I have an MV flux converter. I can't put this down because those are low voltage machines, and you have to be careful. Again, when we get to the higher voltage stuff, then what I'll probably end up doing is sticking this out here on the end and allowing it to convert to the next level or whatever. This is not permanent. This is not staying here. We'll worry about that later. But there we go. Flux converter. Again, that is just going to allow you to be able to convert from FE to EU doing whatever you need to do. Again, thank you very much. More converters. Boy, they're being very nice. What does this take to make? LV transformer. I mean, it's not awful, but again, we don't need to be fiddly fooling around with it right now. All right, with all that said, we'll deal with this later on. Oh, you're going to give me one of those once we get it all done. That's awesome. Can I craft one of those things? I wouldn't mind a Robbit right now. I'm kidding. I don't even know what I would do with him because I don't think I'd have a way to really charge him. Let me see. That thing. How much does it take to craft that? Again, another energy tablet, which is deep slate tabs and some more green dye. We'll work on that eventually. He's going to be some fun stuff, especially considering the fact that he's the guts of a digiminer, if they'll let us craft that. Which, yeah, looks like maybe. I mean, I've said that before, and I keep going, oh yeah, well I think I can craft that, and then I have to look and make sure and click over various things. This is another thing we could be using. Logistical sorters are going to be a lot of fun later on once we get to that point. And I don't need that. Okay, cool. Onwards, upwards. Power. Power, 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 power. Now that we've got all that talked about, now that we've got that figured out, there's only generally what I'm seeing in here so far is one chapter speaking about power. I've played modded Minecraft for a long time. If you just do the old thing about generator and you look, there's only these two right here. So there's obviously other ways of making power, but those are the only two that are obviously out there. You have to start digging through some of the other mods. Mechanism. Mechanism has generators, however, we don't have that particular portion of the mod or the extension here. What we do have is we do have the fusion reactor stuff, which we could eventually, depending on whether we need to, work towards that little process. But if you click on there, you look at there, it says nuclear science. Nuclear science, I do believe. Nuclear. I'd love to be able to spell a little bit. Nuclear science, I believe, is another mod that we're going to be able to use to possibly make power eventually, especially if it says something like boilers and stuff like this, and you know that tin and good stuff. I'm assuming eventually we're going to be given access to this, or at least be told when to start looking at it. Maybe we could probably start looking at it right now. However, I'm already seeing things that are going on, which means it's going to be building, running power from that particular mod over there, which is fine. That just means you'll have to convert everything over to where you need to go if you need some FE or something like that to play around with. I do actually think that this works the other way around too. I think this will come off the back side of that. Maybe we should test that real quick. I have 3 whole universal cables left. Let's test one more thing. Give me one of those. Now, looky there. Does that mean... It does. So I don't need their conversion. I can use their battery-powered charger stuff however I feel like it. That just means I have to do something like that. Okay, that's what I needed to know. For now, we do that. Power then. Power, 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 power. Power for what we're going to have to play with once we get past the various other little things. For now, likely is going to be having to follow the quest book, which is fine. Just going to say we're going to have to kind of probably dig around and see what else we can do. They're pointing us at a combustion chamber, and it's a combustion generator that runs off liquid fuels such as oil, ethanol, or more efficiently off of better fuels such as diesel, biodiesel, gasoline, and LPG fuels. They're going to show us or tell us to have to do a few things here. And essentially what they want us to do is craft one of these guys and then feed it full of something that can possibly do the other work. They're going to give us some fuel tanks. They're going to give us some reinforced slabs. And we're going to get a multimeter block. And moving forward, they're going to then start talking about we need to either do this kind of stuff or this kind of stuff or that kind of stuff. This is all going to be built, assumingly, in a... refinery from Pneumaticraft. It should be this process. So we're kind of stuck behind needing some reasonable heat which we can theoretically kind of fiddle around with if we want to, but it's heat and, a couple of other things, plus we have a refinery output and a bunch of other stuff that goes on. It has been a long time since I have played with pneumatic craft specifically. I think the last time I played with it was in 1.16, I believe, was the last time I played with it. So I know that there have been some large changes. I do believe that there's nothing this is going to do for us outside of possibly making a few things. So that's phenolithic. Yeah, I know that this now has some other jobs, which is interesting to me. It used to not be a big deal. And we could do this. We could do the ethanol, the vegetable oil. We can do all kinds of fun things to do this kind of stuff, to do this kind of stuff, to make plastic, to do whatever. There are a lot of things that we're going to be able to figure out with and or mess with until we get there. And again, if you see something obvious, go ahead and throw it at me and tell me I'm doing it wrong, because I don't know. It's, again, first time playing with that particular mod, not first time playing with a lot of these other ones. So let's build us that compression dynamo, or whatever this is. Combustion chamber. A hell of a name for a generator. You want me to make a bunch of copper gears and another copper coil and another motor. I did realize we are now capable of doing this because we have these steel mech. Well, actually, we're capable of making stainless at this point. I think I just need to make an energized alloyer. I can make an alloyer, but that is going to require another one of these and a bunch of other stuff that I don't really feel like dealing with. And I think actually that thing is to another 220 or 240 volt thing. So 240 volt thing. Let's see. We need to make a combustion chamber, which is going to take some of those. Nope. This one copper coil. Go. I already have a motor or two. I think I have a cauldron. I just need a couple of copper gears, which in this case is just going to be... And making sure... I don't know why I did that. Here, I don't need you. And make sure your friend is off. That'll be the next thing we make, is a better magnet. That thing's driving me nuts. Go. Except that was the wrong one, isn't it, dummy? Be right and good if you put the right one in the thing. Go. Thank you. Combustion chamber should be there. Yeah, I thought I had a cauldron laying around. All right. Ding, ding. Ding, ding. Okay, cool. That is going to give us a small fluid tank, a bunch of reinforced slabs, and a multimeter block from electrodynamics. What is this going to do? Oh. So if I put you like right here and rotate you around, go the direct. That's the only problem, is they place the direction you face, and it's not amazing. I don't know. We'll leave it up there and see what it does. Small fluid tanks. What do these cost to make? Pressed iron ingots. Are they automagic? Do they can be connected with tanks above and below with the wrench of either tank is empty or both tanks same fluid? Neat. Wrench. Where is my wrench? Other wrench. That wrench. These are likely cheaper and they do the exact same thing. All right, put that away, and then let's see about this thing, the combustion chamber. I wonder if it's really loud. It probably is. I guess if we're going to test it, let's put it over here like this. Seriously, just make up your mind. That's one of the only things I'm not happy about with the way this mod is working, is that it's placing blocks the way it's placing, which again, it is what it is. A lot of the, people just tend to do whatever they want to do with their mods, and sometimes it doesn't make any sense. So let's try a bucket of oil. I did go get some. Open it. Put it in there. Wow. Let's see. Recent. Combustion chamber. Go away. Thank you. That's amazing. That's all I needed. Great. That's okay. That was cool, but incredibly annoying. All right. We know that that does the work. We know now that that is, that's what's going on. Nice, cool, wonderful. Let us do a little bit more looking before we get completely done with this episode. It's going to be crude oil. You're going to give me a bucket, a boiled emu egg. Lovely. Be traded by the Amazon network. You can engineer bees to produce it or use a laser fluid drill. We may or may not worry about most of this. Depends on what they want us to do, because there is a secondary line over here. Of course, this is when they start telling you things about this kind of stuff, which means you need to then go over to under pressure and find the line. I guess there's a line over here. No refinery whatsoever. You don't tell me a thing. Okay, well, that's cool. Any other place? Quarry, energized alloy, reinforced alloy, blah, blah, blah. So crude oil can be found all over the place. Again, we read kerosene is next stop, is refining as kerosene is twice as efficient as biodiesel alone. These further refining steps will require both air pressure and at least 300 degrees temperature. You can achieve this with a torch as a heat source. No, you can't. Unless they modified it other way. No, you can't. You can do it with a fire, though. Gasoline, same deal. Energy density, all those kinds of deals. And again, fluid mixer, feast of yeast. This is an interesting thermopneumatic processing plant. Yeast culture. I'm just staring at the wall, trying to figure out what we're going to do for power. I may attempt some of these later on. Melon seeds don't work very well there. Actually, they're awful. Unless you're getting the magic that comes out of these things where you're getting like 7 pieces off of your melons. So like if you click on this, we've got 26 on us right now. That was 10. Sure, that was amazing. Let me show you something. 1 pumpkin, 2 pumpkins, 6 pumpkins, 11 pumpkins. Whichever seed this one is, if I really, really wanted to work at it, this will drop the thing and occasionally drop melons, right? It'll occasionally drop melons. That's just a bunch of pumpkin seeds right there, and this is only ever that many. So, yeah, whatever. Okay, so how long did that burn? Is it still burning? Okay, so that'll give us a fair amount of burn time for right now. That should charge that battery up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you all in the next one. I think I've had enough fun goofing around this time. I know this one's going to probably be pretty late because I've been sitting here fiddling around all day, kind of trying to just wrap my head around what I should be doing. And I got a couple of things done. So until next time, I will see you all later. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.